I love everything about this interview. I don't remember the last time I went and bothered Doug, my husband, or like after seeing something on my phone, like, and said, you need to sit down next to me and we need to watch this together next to one another. And that's what you and I are about to do with this audience, who, unlike us, have lives and probably are not sitting around watching every minute of Katie Porter, because why would you unless you were in this business? But we're going to do it today because it's our gift to you. It's our gift. We screen all the nonsense hits so that you only get the gold ones, members of the audience. And Link and I would like to bring you the Katie Porter interview. But here, I'm going to set it up first, okay? So she's running for governor of California. She's got the inside track. And she sits down with this journalist from the local CBS, who's an investigative journalist, who's been doing a series of interviews of all the candidates and asking the same, 10 questions of them. And it's been going fine. This is not new in politics. This is a time-tested way of doing a candidate comparison. And so she starts off with the other candidates, and then eventually she gets to Porter. Here is a sampling of how it went when she sat down with the other candidates asking the same questions that caused Katie Porter to self-immolate. Here's Sat 2.
6 million voters who voted for Trump is a lot of votes. Are you going to need those votes in order to win if you're a top two?
I need every vote.
What do you say to those 40% who you may need in a top two California primary?
I think them specifically. I think they're tired of politicians just talking at them. And I feel like they just want to be heard and they want to listen.
When it comes to redistricting, are you alienating those Republicans by saying, yes, I support what Gavin Newsom is doing?
Look, I would look at the polls of the state. Right now, the polls say protect California. Whatever the California customers want, I will be their leader and represent.
Okay, it's not hard. Literally, you can pivot to something. You can put whatever you want in there. Just say something resembling anything. Mm-hmm. It's so good. Okay, so then sits down Katie Porter. And the audience, you guys, you need to know, she's long suffered under reports that she's a bully, that she's extremely nasty to her staff and people around her, like not just like a tough boss, but abusive. She had this crazy thing with her ex-husband where he said she was abusive toward him and was like controlled whether or not he could have a phone and was verbally abusive to him. And that's what we knew about Katie Porter before this interview. The lady seems to have a temperament problem. I'm so glad we get to do this together. Here is the interview that went round the world. We're going to air these 3.5 minutes in full, and you can see for yourselves how it went.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. Mm-hmm. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't
I
think
feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not argumentative.
And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered
I don't care.
follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
Okay.
You're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about. And redistricting is a massive issue. We're going to do an entire story just on the responses to that question. And I've asked everybody the same follow-up questions.
It's so good. I want to tell the audience that reporter is Julie Watts, CBS News. And my own take on it is Katie Porter's not ready for prime time. That's obvious. You could tell from the dress she was wearing, the lighting she accepted, and her absolute meltdown on being asked follow-up questions. I mean, pretty basic follow-up questions. But I will say there was something mildly antagonistic about this Julie Watts that I loved. It was like everything she said was so by the book. And her tone wasn't bad either. There was just something very needling about it that it was absolutely delicious. And Katie Porter... She was responding a bit to that and also to her own ineptitude mostly. But that's what made it so compelling is that the reporter didn't give 1 inch and clearly was like, fuck off, this is happening. And Katie Porter knew she had humiliated herself and kept looking for the moral high ground, but couldn't get there. She was desperately trying to get there and just never could. She obviously ended her campaign. I mean, what Californian would vote for that?
I mean, it's going to be tough to come back from. It honestly felt like a scene from that show Homeland when they're doing an interrogation, like one overhead light interrogation. Yes. But Katie Porter, this is what it's like being a Democrat, right? Joe Biden, people would ask him what his favorite ice cream flavor was. So I think they've gotten so spoiled. They're not used to actually having real questions. Yes. But none of those were tough questions. It was like, hey, how are you going to reach the other side of the aisle? This isn't rocket science, okay? You don't have to be in Mensa to answer that question. But Katie Porter, I think she probably has anger issues from the stories we've heard and the rumors we've heard around California. I also just feel like Katie Porter, I thought she was transgender. Until today, I thought Katie Porter was transgender. From the way that she looked, apparently she is not. But I don't know who has more testosterone, Michelle Obama, Brigitte Macron, or Katie Porter, okay? Because Katie Porter, she looked like one of those people, you know, like back in the day, like the bearded ladies at the circus, like the people who could like lift 500 pounds and stuff. That's how I felt about Katie Porter. Like her poor husband, when he doesn't give her the TV remote, does he get a black eye or something? So no, I would not want to be with her in private if that's how she's acting in public. And my last thing I'll say is, if you're going to do a walk-off, okay, you guys need to watch Andy Cohen. If you're going to do a walk-off, you got to walk off. You can't like kind of walk off and then you stay. No. You either walk off or you don't do the BS and the theatrics of it all.
Yeah. My favorite part is, I'm me. I'm me.
Well, I don't
want to have an unhappy experience. You know, no. Dan, I'm not going to be ignored. Dan, I don't want to have an unhappy experience. And the reporter's like, I don't want to have an unhappy experience either. But like, she kept shaming her with every candidate has answered these questions. Every candidate has answered these questions. And it paralyzed Katie Porter because she's not actually just me. She was not able to say, fuck off, I don't really care. You're annoying, I'm getting up and leaving, which actually would have been the power move. She tried to do the power move without putting the power behind it and just demanding to have a pleasant, positive, and happy experience, which is, ma'am, this is politics and news. None of those adjectives applies.
Also, I will say, it's hard to look like a badass getting up and walking out of a broom closet. Okay, that looked like where Harry Potter lived under the stairs, like this dark, dingy broom closet they were in. They couldn't find a better set. Like, I'm such a stickler for lighting. If I am not like blown out like the sun, I won't be in there. You know what I'm saying? I will go Mariah Carey. So for Katie Porter to be sitting in there with like one little candle light 1,000 yards away, it's hard to look badass walking out of a broom closet.
It's amazing that the reporter allowed it. Like, I'm surprised. Can we roll the tape without running the sound for a second? Because I want to show something on a Katie Porter shot. The reporter, honestly, CBS should have done a more professional job in lighting the scene and picking, like, a lot of times you do a newsroom interview. It's exciting. You're in the newsroom. But, like, this was not it. And on the single shot of Katie, look how it looks like there's something blue sticking out of her neck. Hold on. It looks like she's got, like, a blue flag coming out of the right side of her neck. We'll get back there. Stand by. They never should have allowed that. Like, Katie Porter should have sat down. Look, right there. It's so weird. It was there the whole time. It's clearly like a piece of tape or a light. I couldn't tell the difference on something behind Katie. It looked terrible. It was so distracting. This is why Trump does so well, Link. You sit down in any interview as a monitor, to Steve, thanks. And he'll say, the light needs to come up, pet up with the camera, this vase needs to go. Like, that's what a lifetime in television will do. Clearly, this woman is not focused enough on how one should appear. Let's put it that way.
She's in what we call a rough lighting, but my family and friends know I travel with full lighting. I am ready to go at all times. Katie Porter, you need some gay interns. Katie Porter has no gay men around her because she's being sabotaged. But yeah, no, also it's like the sleeveless dress and then kind of like the Helga Oktoberfest haircut. Like, I don't know. I think she's a calamity and we won't be hearing from her a year from now.
Did you know gold is up around 40% this year? That's not speculation, it's reality. And if a portion of your savings is not diversified into gold, you are missing the boat. Here are the facts. Inflation is still too high. The US dollar is still too weak. And the government debt is still growing. This is why central banks are flocking to gold. They're the ones driving prices up to record highs. But it's not too late to buy gold from Birch Gold Group and get in the door now. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into one in gold. You don't pay a penny out of pocket. Just text MK to 989898 and claim your free info kit. There's no obligation, just useful information. The best indicator of the future is the past, and gold has historically been a safe haven. Text MK to 989898 right now to claim your free info kit on gold. MK to 989898. Protect your future today with Birch Gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.